So yeah, that's the A word I was talking about. And what can and could AI do? That's exactly what we are here to discuss. And we've seen that it can create beautiful art. I don't know how many of you have been using any of these generative AI products that are available in the market. I'm sure everybody has tried their hands on it. And I was here, like I was talking about how DALI or Midjourney or uh, control net. There's so many different AI softwares these days, like, which are almost like kind of taking over us and creating such beautiful art. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that AI can't feel to save its life. Like it's the way that we, how we as people, we kind of do a lot of things that AI cannot do, which is like, the ultimate way of how you perceive things, how you look at things. You can be creative. You need not you just need to have awareness, some understanding of what you've done. AI usually knows nothing about the images and words they generate. What AI does is basically it takes a lot of information that artists like us put in the world. That becomes the data for them, that becomes the memory for them, and they just kind of give you results based on that. So ultimately, if you stop creating, AI wouldn't have anything to create. So it's all about how your mind thinks. So which brings me to this slide: derivative by design, inventive by chance. So AI can create, but they are not creative. They are derivative by design. When I say that, it means basically that if you are a designer, uh, you come up to an idea with a lot of thinking, like with a lot of sense and perception around you. You've been living with a problem. That's what is giving you an insight into what you want to design or what you want to create. And uh, AI can only invent by chance. So it just takes up a lot of data from you and creates something. It's never completely sure about what's happening there. So I have a little note here. So AI art will certainly proliferate on the low end, but it's unclear if it can meet the demands of advertising agencies, production companies, and game developers. Something often seems missing from AI art. The images lack storytelling because AIs don't know what that is. They lack expressiveness because the AI doesn't know what time is. What AI art often feels generic and very plasticky. You must have seen that already. But even more importantly, AIs do not innovate. They synthesize what we already know. AI is derivative by design and it's invented by chance. And I was here, like I was talking about how DALI or Midjourney or uh, Control Net. There's so many different AI softwares these days, like which are almost like kind of taking over us and creating such beautiful art. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that AI can't feel to save its life. Like it's the way that we, how we as people, we kind of do a lot of things that AI cannot do, which is like, so the AI DNA isn't built on years of survival instincts, whereas humans are built on survival instincts. Anytime you've been put into a box, that's when you start to think out of the box. It's only when you are like it's similar to when you put rice in the pressure cooker, it starts to cook. So it's just like when you are in that box where you're confined to a problem, you start to think of a solution. And AI hasn't seen what humans have. So they haven't seen what childbirth is. They haven't seen what it is to be a mother. They haven't seen what it is to be a father. So there are a lot of feelings and emotions that AI doesn't see it. It's only humans who can feel and perceive. And that's why whatever you make is something they copy. So it has only seen what humans made. So if you go on Midjourney and you type that you want to, I mean, you put your own picture and you say that I want this picture to look like Van Gogh's painting, it will create that, and it'll create very quickly. So, it actually saves a lot of time. But do you realize that it's only creating because some artist called Van Gogh created his art, and that's why now it can copy into various, designs. So I would say AI can be a good intern for us. For all the designers, for all the art directors in the world, AI is a great intern. Currently, where I work in Area 23, we have some really big clients like Pfizer and AstraZeneca and all of these clients, where the demand of coming up with ideas is pretty much like at light speed. Like, they brief us in the morning, and the next day we have reviews happening, internal reviews. And it's impossible for an art director to create 5 different ideas in that much time. So I usually spend more time thinking of what I want to create, but I definitely use Midjourney to create my swipes or my images or something. So they definitely are not going to give you an art directed print ad or design. It's not going to happen like that, but at least it can help you. So it can really help. And I don't have to tell you much. If you go online and search for what it can do, you'll get like loads of tutorials to learn how to use these softwares. But they basically are really good interns for any art director. So just get an account on Midjourney, use it, learn it, and help yourself, because you're going to save more time and you'll have much more time to imagine better ideas. So yeah, AI is intelligence for imagination. It gives you kind of wings in a way, like because it is that intelligence. It's artificial intelligence, of course, and once you start using that, you can imagine much more. So you can think of the next big idea. So now I'm just quickly going to take you through few case studies. So what I did was I asked AI to basically ChatGPT to create a language for ALS patients that anyone can use. Now, who are ALS patients? ALS patients um, are patients who it's a disease called ALS and MND. The full form is quite complicated, so I'm not sure, but I can explain what happens in this disease. It's a disease that affects your motor neuron cells in your brain. Motor neuron cells are um, significant in your body for your movement, your overall movement. So these patients become paralytic, okay, almost neck down. So they cannot move anymore because the motor neuron cells in their brains have stopped working. So those patients are called ALS, or they are suffering with ALS. So to give you an idea, Stephen Hawking, who passed away in 2018, I think, was suffering with ALS. He was a very big scientist. He's written like a lot of books on quantum physics and whatnot. I'm sure you guys know about him. So he was suffering with ALS, but he was also a very rich guy. So he could afford to have an IBM computer talk for him. So basically, that's this. What I was trying to do is create. I just asked Chat GPT to create a language for ALS patients. So what it did is it gave me this this information that yes, you could do a basic vocabulary, you could create a symbol system or color coding. So they were very helpful points, but they definitely are not going to create, it's not creating or giving you an idea of to what you can really do. So I'll take you to the next page. And this brings me to the project that I worked in 2018 for ALS patients. And it was about creating a language for ALS patients. I'll show you the case study. You might have seen some of you mustn't have seen it, so you can see it. And this was definitely done before AI became so popular. So again, the point I'm trying to make is that AI is a very good aid. It can help you come up with ideas very quickly. Here's the case video.
The biggest battle for patients suffering from fatal disorders like ALS, MNDs, and spinal cord injuries is the simple act of communication. कितनी बार वो हमें कुछ बताना चाहते हैं बट हम लोग वो समझ नहीं पाते. For these patients and their families, the basic methods of communication are very tedious, and the high-tech assistive tools unaffordable. Eyes are the only part of their bodies that don't betray them till the very end. So we created Blink to Speak, the world's first eye language by Asha A. Cope Foundation and Noorajin Hospital. With 50 simple eye movements, patients can express all their needs and desires. The eye language has 8 alphabets. Using multiple easy combinations of these alphabets, patients can say yes, no, I'm not okay, and some important messages like call the doctor, danger, entertainment, and I love you. The book is available for free on the Blink to Speak, Asha A. Hope, and Nourajin websites.
Blink to Speak is an amazing innovation which will not just help our patients, but help patients all over the world.
Nourajin Hospital also conducts free training sessions for patients, caregivers, and their staff. Blink to Speak has reached over 3 million people. It has been discussed, applauded, and shared, and also endorsed by the International Association of ALS and ALS India. Blink to Speak has given a new hope to patients, their families, and doctors.
Blink to Speak is going to break all the barriers of communication and help people free from all the limits of balance.
1, 2, 3, yes. Blink to Speak, the world's first eye language.
So yeah, so that was basically one of the design projects that I had worked on at TBWA with an entire team of almost 10 to 12 of us together. And this was the idea that was developed out of sheer, I would say, survival instincts of human beings. So, I mean, to give you a little idea on how this idea came to life.
The biggest battle for patients suffering from fatal disorders like ALS, MNDs, and spinal cord injuries is the simple act of communication. कितनी बार वो हमें कुछ बताना चाहते हैं बट हम लोग वो समझ नहीं पाते. For these patients and their families, the basic methods of communication are very tedious, and the high-tech assistive tools unaffordable. Eyes are the only part of their bodies that don't betray them till the very end. So we created Blink to Speak.
So basically, somebody in my family was suffering with ALS. And he was pretty much in the last stages of ALS, where his body started to completely stop moving. So he could not. So initially, I was thinking, is there a way that we can talk to him? Could it be? Could it be like using sign language? Could it be using an iPad where there are images and he can click on the images and explain to us this is what he wants, or he could type, or he could write down. But the thing is that in this disease, patients' hands almost becomes like this, so they can't even tap on the phone, and their body starts to lose motor control, so they cannot use sign language. So there's absolutely no way that they can communicate, because the other thing that happens is that the vocal cords lose their strength as well, so they cannot speak. So it's only this portion, and the brain is working pretty well. So when I saw that, I mean, me, including my family, we were trying our best to understand him, and that used to make him very frustrated. And so sometimes he would just ask me to switch off the AC, but he'd just keep looking up, and I wouldn't know what he wanted to communicate. So this thing kept on happening, and I was literally living in this problem. And then one of the days, it so happened that this idea struck to me that why can't we have him react using his eyes? So we checked with a doctor, and the doctors confirmed that a patient with ALS, their eyes are working absolutely fine most of the times. So that's why we started to create, and then I started to create like some basic, uh, you know, phrases with eye movements. So if he wanted to have water, I would actually tell him that you could just look up and I'll understand that you want water. Or if you want to say that call the doctor, then just look on the side, on the right side, and I'll understand that you're asking us to call the doctor. So we started to do this, and at that point of time, I realized that I think this itself can create a language for ALS patients. And that's when I went back to my office and I spoke to all the people like in my team, and I said, let's do this. Let's create a design project. So it started like that, and then luckily had a client to work with, and they funded this project, and that's how it came to life. So that's how this one happened. And I'll move to the next one, next case study.
For over more than 4 decades, Portugal lived under a fascist dictatorship. Thousands of people were tortured and killed. The blue pencil, used to censor artists, became a symbol of repression. Penguin Books wanted to show its love for the Portuguese culture, so to celebrate the anniversary of the end of the fascist government, Penguin Books offered blue pencils to Portuguese contemporary artists. Using a technique known as blackout poetry, the writers had to choose from words present in the fascist constitution to create their own poems about freedom and love. The remaining words were covered by beautiful illustrations. Turning a symbol of repression into a book, a timeless masterpiece that celebrates freedom of speech. The Portuguese reconstitution was launched on the day of the Coronation Revolution. The book grabbed the attention of the Portuguese people and the media, quickly becoming a bestseller. It became part of the permanent collection of the Aljube Museum, which is based in a former political prison. It's being used at schools to teach students the history of the revolution through art.
Liberdade é uma palavra bonita.
A liberdade nunca deve ser esquecida, deve ser vivida e manifestada cada dia das nossas vidas.
And it has proved, once and for all, that Penguin Books has a Portuguese art.
Have you guys seen this work? Yeah. So I have a little note from the creative director on this particular piece, and I'll just play that one for you. And he works with me at Area 23 as well. So he was very kind enough to record this little video for all of you.
Hi everyone, my name is Diego. I'm a VP Creative Director in Area 23 and one of the creators behind the project, The Portuguese Pre-Constitution, this little book right here. And well, let me tell the story behind the project very quickly. The project was born from the desire that Viton, my partner at the time, and I had to do something for the country that we were living, and then we love them so much, and really want to give back something to Portugal. So the political scenario was already very turbulent, with a lot of rhetoric speeches by politicians and authoritarian governments, all that stuff, including Brazil, our country of origin, that was governed by one of the first characters at the time. So we want, to use creativity to avoid, or at least warn people that would happen in Portugal. So we invited poets and illustrators from Portuguese-speaking countries to help us to transform the fascist constitution of 1933 into an ode to freedom and art. And I like to say that was born the most human way possible. Artificial intelligence would never be possible to create something like that. And I love technology, but I don't see technology as a competitor. I see it's a tool. Artificial intelligence is a tool, and human creativity is copied by technology and AI. So I doubt it sets people in the way that only person can. To be honest, I think that maybe technology would help me a lot when I need to think about how to translate poetry into illustrations. At the time I was designing the book, which certainly have made the crafting process easier for me, as my deadline at the time was very tight. So don't worry about AI. Think AI as a partner to enhance your creativity, okay? Thank you.
Does anyone want to hear it again? I can play it because I know sometimes it's hard to understand a different accent because I didn't have time to put subtitles. Sorry. But if anyone wants to hear
If
it
you
again,
can, if you can at
Yes,
least share the
yes.
crux of the video, that should work.
sure. If you want me to share it, yeah, sure. I think what he was trying to say was that this project came out of just pure passion and and that their heart used to break for the government and for the people of Portugal, and that's why there were these four guys who came together: the writer, the creative director, an illustrator. So this guy is the one who this guy and there's another guy called Viton. They both came up with this idea to create a book, but then they had another artist, like an illustration artist, who actually created those illustrations, those beautiful pencil illustrations. And as you know, like the blue pencil is used by I mean, in journalism, right? And so basically that's how that project came to life. And I think the point that he's trying to make is if he had AI that time, I think it would have helped to some extent to think of more illustrations. I don't know, but I think it requires a lot more than just a cool tech program to come up with an idea like that. So to which, I mean, that's what he's saying, that you have to feel it, you have to feel that it's required, and then it automatically comes out of you. It's so as long as we are being human, we'll be having these ideas all the time, and it doesn't really matter whether it wins awards or not, but it's very important for us to be human as much as we can, and not completely depend on technology and everything. Technology is there to help, but it cannot just do everything for you.
Yeah, great words. Thanks, Geet.
Yeah, no problem.
For over more than 4 decades, Portugal lived under a fascist dictatorship. Thousands of people were tortured and killed. The blue pencil, used to censor artists, became a symbol of repression. Penguin Books wanted to show its love for the Portuguese culture, so to celebrate the anniversary of the end of the fascist government, Penguin Books offered blue pencils to Portuguese contemporary artists. Using a technique known as blackout poetry, the writers had to choose from words present in the fascist constitution to create their own poems about freedom and love. The remaining words were covered by beautiful illustrations. Turning a symbol of repression into a book, a timeless masterpiece that celebrates freedom of speech. The Portuguese reconstitution was launched on the day of the Carnation Revolution. The book grabbed the attention of the Portuguese people and the media, quickly becoming a bestseller. It became part of the permanent collection of the Aljube Museum, which is based in a former political prison. It's being used.
And this is another piece. I think you guys must have seen this as well. But and the story, like I said, is very similar to what this entire presentation is talking about. So I'll just play this one.
Having cystic fibrosis means that my lungs don't work as much and have a bunch of mucus in them. This is my airway clearance vest. It hits my chest over and over, and it loosens the mucus in my lungs so I can pump it out. Kids with CF, we have to do this all the time. Wearing the vest is the worst part of my day. I'm so glad my vest is here.
Turn up the volume.
Oh my goodness. It really works. That's good.
There's a specific sound frequency, 40 hertz, that is proven as effective as traditional CF vest therapy. It loosens mucus so patients can cough it up. The Woojer Sick Beats vest syncs to your smartphone and pulls these frequencies from the music you're listening to, delivering them to the chest in real time. The Sick Beats experience operates through Spotify. We scanned the millions of songs on Spotify to collect the songs containing the 40 hertz tone and gave the CF community dedicated access to the therapeutic song library simply by following the Sick Beats profile on Spotify. In the Spotify app, kids can access thousands of therapeutic songs and discover new playlists to make their CF treatment the best part of their day.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys understood what's happening there. It's just changing the experience of otherwise such a difficult time for that child with asthma. And that asthma is not like any, I mean, I think it's a very major kind of asthma that these kids are suffering with, and they have to go through that process every single day. So I think the design solution here was to create a better experience using technology. So I again have the one who created this project, who's actually like a little about her. She's actually a medical scientist turned into a copywriter. So it's not, yeah. So it's not like she's not good with being a scientist, but I think she enjoys thinking of ideas and creating design solutions for big problems in the world, you know? So yeah, that's a little background about her. Now she works with me again. There she is.
AI couldn't design Sick Beats, but it certainly helped enhance it. Sick Beats was born out of a deep personal connection that I have to the disease. I had a classmate pass away at far too early an age from CF. So when I saw a story about an American football player's son who had CF, and he was wearing one of the bulky airway clearance vests and he looked miserable, I had an idea that maybe music could enhance the treatment experience. So AI couldn't have made that connection because it was something deeply personal to me. But it was essential to creating the bespoke playlists that powered the therapeutic effect of the vest.
Okay, I hope you guys understood how AI was used in this idea. Again, but the fact that music could make the experience better was her personal experience, was her personal, eureka moment, which she had invited for herself because she felt for that problem, because she really felt, for that kid or for her friend or whatever. So I think that's exactly what I mean by sense and perception. So you have your senses, you can perceive the world, which AI cannot do. So it's very important to have a free mind and look at things around you, because you can get ideas from anywhere. It's important to be yourself, and so yeah, these were a couple of case studies. And I mean, the question is, so can AI take your job? I'm sure you guys know the answer. It could try it, but it couldn't have designed what I showed you. It definitely couldn't have done that. I mean, the question is, so can AI take? And I just wanted to talk to you about, what do you guys understand by perception? Like, if I can keep this as an open question also, like, if you guys want to just discuss, I don't have a right answer to it, but everybody might have their own way of perceiving things around you. So we can have like a chat about this in this masterclass, or, I could just keep speaking as well.
No, we
Whatever
can have
it is.
a small discussion here. So if anybody would like to share or say anything or put their views ahead here, they can go ahead and share it now.
Yeah,
So
and
please
and don't
unmute
feel
yourself
shy,
at this
because
moment. Yeah,
yeah, don't feel shy. Just let's just talk about it, because
yeah.
to be very honest, it's pressurizing for me to keep talking.
Hi,
Yeah.
Guys,
can you
please
hear me?
unmute and ask.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to, hi, thanks for the presentation, really informative and helpful. Just wanted to know, when it comes to perception, like we talk about percepting things with our senses, right? Our five senses. So
Yes.
that's one way of, I think, we perceive things.
Yes.
Other than that, we have our instincts and we have our, that sixth sense that tells us about things and people and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I
And to
request
me,
you please tell your name first, and if you can,
Actually, I can read
turn
their
off your
names, so
video, would
it's
that
okay.
be
Yeah, but
all right?
you can definitely tell your names. Yeah.
Hey, this is Vishnu from Bengaluru. I work at Morgan Stanley. To me, perception is how you see things. A classic example which I have right now is the O in perception word. I see the negative space in O as an eggshell. So that's my way of perceiving things. So it's all about how you see, how you interpret. I think the answer lies clearly in the 3 lines which you have put up, how you see and interpret in
Yeah,
different ways.
absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, the dictionary meaning is understanding, a way of regarding or interpreting something, or a mental impression. Like everything that we see, it goes through this human system, and especially through your brain, and it starts to create connections and everything, right? So it's a mental impression. And I feel like, why is perception so important in our business, or in our business of design or creative thinking? Because I feel like great design requires creativity and imagination, and both of these things begins with perception. And I don't know if I can if I'm quoting it correctly, but there's the someone, like, I think Edward Prince or somebody like that, he said that perception lies at like at root of all creativity, which means learning how to see is the start of creativity. In all the 3 examples that I showed you, the people behind those ideas were seeing what's going on around them. So it was almost, and seeing is not just with your eyes, it's like, you feel it, you feel everything. So all your senses are constantly open, and that happens in a state of, and it's a very meditative state. Meditative state does not require you to sit for meditation for hours. If you do, that's great. That's going to really help your perception and ideation much more if you all are meditating. But like everything that you do has a sense of decluttering your mind, and just soaking it in. When you start soaking it in, it creates mental impression in your mind, and it comes to action when it needs to. So it will just come to you. You cannot chase it. The idea comes to you. And I mean, I can't stress more on that, but the idea comes to you. It's very hard to chase. You might have noticed when you're working on projects, and you keep thinking you've got a deadline for tomorrow, and you keep thinking uh, of the deadline, nothing comes to you. But when you stop thinking about the deadline, the ideas start to flow into your mind. So it's a very simple thing. It's because you are letting it flow. So, yeah. So, I mean, and also, like, I want to say that vision is not the same as perception. Vision is very concrete. It observes, it looks, but perception is very abstract. It's beyond observation. It's to judgment. It doesn't judge. It is just soaking it in. It's about soaking everything that's going around you. Like, we see what we see, but what we perceive is combination of what we see, our past experiences, our point of view in a situation, our awareness in a situation. How aware are you? So it's a very abstract thing. It's not like a horse eyes view. It's not just seeing. It's much more than that. And we all, as designers, we need to, and when I say designers, I'm sure there are many art directors and writers in this group, and marketeers and whatever, like, different fields, but it's required in every field that I can think about. And I think there's a very interesting book by Rick Rubin, The Way of Being. I would suggest all of you to get hold of that book. Somehow it's called The Way of Being by Rick Rubin. And I can list down some of these books because they've helped me, and I've started to read them more often as like, whenever I have my free time. It really helps. I'll move to the next slide. Anybody else want to discuss or talk about this?
Hello, this is Pratima Agnihotri. May I say something?
Sure. Yes, Pratima.
I felt that, like, what AI lacks and what human imagination, human cognition, or perception can do is self reflection. Like, whenever we are creating something, be it a poem, be it a design, be it even teaching, actual discussing, what we are doing is, we are critiquing what we do. We are constantly, there is a kind of constant self reflection. In any artist, anybody who thinks does that. And I would say that AI cannot do it, and therefore AI can never ever replace the way human beings can think about it, the way human beings can create something.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Pratima. And as long as we have that, what do you call, like that trust with ourselves, I guess we all can create much better stuff because AI is here to help, is what I would say. Yes, I mean, the one thing that I would say is that you have to improve your skill set because AI can take over skills. We can see it, like it can illustrate, okay? It can create photographs, but if we have power on our skills, I think it I mean, that would really help. But more importantly, like I said, it definitely doesn't have the intuition that human beings have. So uh, yeah,
I had a
that's
question.
yes, sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to know what are some quick ways to develop or shape our perceptions which are relevant in the advertising industry so that we can make a difference in the world. So how do we shape our perceptions in such a way? That's my question.
I think I may not have like a proper answer to that because I'm also doing that all the time while I've been in this industry for almost 15 years. But perception is is something that like perception and imagination are very linked. They are kind of linked in a way because the brain uses these circuits, these neural circuits for both these functions. So but experience modifies perception because experience, when I say experience, that means life experiences. That means being open to a lot of things which can create more neural connections in your mind. And so open to a lot of experiences brings about like a stimulus, so then your um, perception automatically gets better. I think perception also gets better with meditation because meditation is the only time when you are not doing anything, when you are trying to defocus from everything and stay with yourself. So it's very important to give yourself that break so that you can like then when you open your eyes, then when you look at the world, you are fresh, you're more creative then. That's what I would say. Like, there was this, I don't know, I had read in one of the books long back, and it said that most of us live as technicians. Okay. Which means that we study mechanically and we pass exams, we get jobs, and we learn the techniques to succeed in the world, in the society. So everything is very mechanical. You go to school, you have a syllabus, you learn. You go to art schools or media schools, and they have a syllabus, you learn. So it's all very mechanical. We pass exams, we get good marks, and then we end up into jobs and everything. But if we don't pay attention to the real stuff, which is like the beauty around us, then we will live in what seems like a very hard, fragmented world. So we have a choice of being either a technician or a creator, to be less or to be more human. So here in the sense of this presentation today, technician is an AI and we are the creators. But it's a question for all of us to answer, including me, that am I being a creator or am I still a technician? Because I think when your sense and when your perception develops, you can be creative. And you can be creative only when when there is no sense of compulsion, when there is no fear of competition. There's going to be a lot of competition, but if you fear competition, again, it's going to, it's going to stop your growth. So Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I've been able to answer that question, but what I'm trying to say is that perception comes with experience, with exposure, with looking at things as it is, not judging them all the time. And also, I guess a little bit of meditation, no, I think meditation should be part of part of any creative person's, day, I would say. I don't know. Sorry if I was able to answer that question.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
But if you have any counter question, please talk about it, because, I want to keep this open, and like, if you have any points around it, we can discuss that as well.
Yeah, guys, please go ahead and discuss and ask whatever questions you have or any doubts you have in mind. Please feel free.
This was another, I don't have the link for this, but I could just quickly Google and show you. I think this is a very nice. Yeah. I think you can't see my screen. I'm trying to bring this on my screen. 1 second.
Didn't really know there was such a thing.
Maybe I can share the link of this in chat, and you guys can see it later on.
Yeah, that will work.
Because I think, yeah, that would be a better idea. It's just another case study that I'd like you guys to see, and you can see this later. This was another, I don't have the link for this, but I could just quickly Google and show you. I think this is a very. So I had some questions, or like, just stimuli for you guys to keep, talking about. And let me just play these. So there's no such thing as no design. There's only good and bad design. And again, you'll see, like, I will show you some very simple examples of good and bad design, or just designs, and you guys can decide whether it's a good design or a bad design, and the idea to do this little exercise is to open you guys up to, how the creators of these particular designs that we will see might have sensed the world around them, which made them to come up with an idea like that. So yeah. So that's, can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's obviously a bulb. So is it good or bad? Is this good or bad? It's a design. It helps you save yourself, or it can kill people also. So is it good or is it bad?
Good.
And some people might say it's bad as well, I'm sure. So yeah. Again, good or bad?
Good.
And these are all like, right now we think we sit on a chair, but someone actually had designed it sometime in this universe. So again, which is like the diamond rings, is it a good design or a bad design? It's just for you guys to think about, like, I have nothing much to say here. Again. So yeah, I mean, is it a good or bad design? You know how the sea and how it's polluting the entire world now, but it was designed by some designer. And now you can imagine how they perceive the world. So a lot of things are in our hands. And then came this. It's like once you have a bad design, then you create more bad designs to save the world from that bad design.
May I say something?
Yeah, sure.
This is Pratima yet again.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, like, look at the words good and bad. They're, how should one say, they're so loaded. like good for whom, bad for whom. So somewhere when it comes to these discussions about good, bad, design and stuff like that, I would say power equations are involved as well. And I would say once again, AI cannot do that. While as a human being with a conscience, or as a human being with some, ethical issues, we can do that. And maybe that is why, AI can be a sort of, our, we need not be Frankensteins. We can be like, control the demons that we could create, demon like the AI which we have created.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. I agree with you. Does anybody else want to discuss or like just talk about anything that they feel is a good design versus a bad design?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Okay. So the point that I have in my mind is, a lot of like the one that you showed with regards to a plastic bag. Now,
Yeah.
when you look at it from the functional standpoint, it's very handy. I don't think there is any other material that's so flexible and, it serves so many different purposes. Like, if you want to carry a bunch of bottles, you can make a like plastic wrap and then you can have like a functional utility, right? You can carry multiple bottles at one time. At the same time, when you go to the market, the shopkeeper is able to give it to you, a whole lot of things in that bag. But on the other side, it is something that is not biodegradable. That means, though we are using it from the functional standpoint today, that material is not going to degrade for life. And therefore, on the other side, we are living in a similar planet, right? So we are only accumulating that, plastic. So somewhere it's a good design, somewhere it's a bad design. I mean, if you really then, so when you were saying is it a good design, I was getting a little confused. Like, what's the context? Because in one context is good, on the other context it's not.
Yeah, because see the plastic bag, the one that's on the screen right now, design ideally like, supermarkets, they love it. Environmentalists, they hate this. And almost everyone, each one of us, we use it. So it's a great design, like you said, it is. But it's not environmental friendly. So then the next one that is there here, which is this one, this one is a reusable bag, right? So it's a better option from plastic bag. Easy, convenient, and eco-friendly. And that's why now we see like everybody carries their own bags to the markets. So I think that's what I was trying to say. So
okay. Now because I think there's a little bit of a disconnect. So,
yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine.
A good design should be good across all perspectives. Like for example, this design of usable bag. You could not only have functional utility served with this bag, but at the same time it does not have the pollution of plastic to the whole thing. So a good design essentially should not have anything, no matter how big that life cycle of the product is. I think right across it meet the requirement. May it be environmental, may it be functional, and may it be XYZ that we don't know. Is that in holistic termed as a good design?
Yes.
Because we have so many things. I mean, like I look at sometimes very I mean, look at the government saying that the plastic will be banned by the consumers, which is the end consumers. But at the same time, if you really look at industries like, pipes and so many things are made out of plastic and they're not really coming to an end. So, and there is also no discussion around like, this one, because if you look at everything around us, there's so many plastic, that material used for various functions. But a very small percentage of problem is, I think, being focused.
Geet, I'm confused here actually, because see, when you're talking about design, right? I think the plastic bag is a great design. In terms of design, it's a great design. Whether it's biodegradable or not is secondary. I mean, it is bad for the planet, but in terms of design, it's a great design. In fact, this design that you're showing on screen right now, I wouldn't be able to carry as many things as I could carry in a plastic bag. So I would say the plastic bag design is a little better than this.
Yeah, I mean, see, the idea is not to completely disregard what that plastic bag is. That's why I did not answer the question, good or bad. But what I'm trying to say is that because I'm trying to discuss this from a sense of perception, sense of what you feel in the world and how human you can be. Like, so as a human being, what's your I wouldn't even say responsibility, but like, what do you as a designer feel is good design versus bad design? So would you be like at the very first, when the plastic bag was invented, it must have been like, wow, this is a great design.
Exactly.
But that person at that point of time didn't think that how many chemicals it has, that it doesn't, decompose. So I feel like as a designer, it's our responsibility to some extent to think about, little future, like,
If I may add to it, many times I feel the word accountability needs to be added.
Yeah.
When we say good design, is it only functional? Functional, when I say, I mean, that serves the purpose today, but therefore, does it have a knock-on effect on others? So I think from a holistic, if you're a designer, you've got to look at it from the holistic side. It's not that you solve one problem today, but you create another problem in another
Problem
area.
tomorrow. Yeah, and then you create another problem tomorrow. That's see, it's possible. It's a human error, I would say, but you cannot after a point you cannot say it's a human error because I mean sometimes I feel
Yeah,
like for example the safety pin. I don't know if anybody would call it a bad design. I don't know. Maybe someone could call it a bad design if it pricks them, oh, if it pricks me and I start bleeding, I might call it as a bad design. But honestly, I've not seen it pricking unless you use it in a wrong way. So this was invented in, sorry. So this was invented in 1849, I think, or 1840 or something. And it keeps fingers safe from injury. That's why it's called safety pin. And it has endless uses, I see. Like I see this, it's always lying in my backpack, always. And in India, I see like women carry them in their in the chains that they wear, like the necklaces that they wear. It's really funny that how Indian women carry it all the time with them. So yeah, I know it's kind of debatable, but yeah. Go ahead.
There's a thought that I have in my mind with regards to a good design. A good design typically is not reinvented. If you look at this design, if it serves the purpose and causes not much of a damage across other things, you will not bother to really have another design. They'll say it works. Why recreate the whole thing? Unless you're some kind of a design company which is experimenting on better ways to do. But if you really look at it, I mean, all designs that have really stood the time and
time. Yeah. You're right.
You don't see people really wanting to change. It's like a simple lock, no? Not the lock, the padlock, but that simple door lock, which you slide across. I think that is like about a century old. I mean, if you look at old movies in the jailer time, they would put that, that thing. Even that just serves the purpose. So I don't think there's much of an invention. But I think when a bad design, they constantly see people trying to, fix the other problem. It's like the plastic bag is another example. From plastic, a cotton bag is a better option, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like big pens, it's a timeless design that doesn't need any reinvention. Big BIC brand pen.
Yes, BIC pens. Yes.
It's a
And
timeless
I
design.
just wanted to bring this picture again on the screen because we are having an interesting conversation now. And I see more and more people talking about it. But I feel this is a great invention. But if this is measured by moral, this is really a bad design. That's what I think, Currently, I mean, we hear so much about gun shooting and everything and the wars and everything, but it's a great invention, but it's also like if you measure it by morals, I think this is such a bad design. But I mean, someone could have a different point of view, which is fine. But again, try to think about design from a sense of solving a problem, not creating another problem. That's all.
Yeah, I think we all have perspectives about the designs, but perspectives doesn't represent the totality of the entire picture. So that's where it becomes subjective when analyzing things.
Yeah.
So, for example, see, the person who invented the hydrogen bomb, or he had no idea that like it would be used to like not hydrogen bomb, but nuclear fission and stuff. He had no idea it would be used to make bombs, right? So how does one draw the line and say that, oh, this was going to be used for something bad in the future, so I will not design it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Geet.
Absolutely. I mean, I have no answer about that. It's just about a person's conscious. Like I would say that as conscious, if somebody lives with consciousness, I don't think they'll make mistakes.
Sally's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and I have the same what you can say thought on this, that every creation or every discovery has two sides, so good and bad. So it is all depend on a person's or a human being's education and responsibility and awareness. It all depends on that on which side that human get attracted to. I mean, the good side or the bad side. And I think it's being a human being, it's every human responsibility to keep our conscience active all the time, to make a good use of every creation and the discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Now this image that we have here, again, good or bad, according to me, it's like overloaded with information. If I'm on the road and I have to read so many signs, I don't think it's gonna come across to me less than confusing. But then if I go to the next one, at least I feel that this is far more understandable. And it obviously comes from a person who have felt the problem and has tried to solve it in the right way, to just with a single-minded approach to simplify communication. So understand what your users need and try using visuals instead of text. Maybe that's what they've done, but I don't know. It's just much clearer way of showing design. This one, I don't have any comments. I just liked the yellow color. I think it's very simple, and yeah. And then we all know the tube maps. We soon are getting the Bombay Metro happening. I'm sure the design of their maps is great as well.
See, again, Geet, for the previous one that you showed, it is again it's a simple direction sign, but if it is put it in the wrong side or the wrong way, it can create disaster.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's why, again, a lot of responsibility at every point of, yeah. And the tube map, the London tube map, and now it is everywhere in the world. I recently was in Delhi and using the Delhi Metro, and and it's very easy to navigate the maps in Delhi Metro. And I'm pretty sure that's the same thing is happening in Mumbai as the metros are being built right now. And then you all know what this is, right? It's the letter set. And I think this is the typeface, which is Helvetica, right? It's Helvetica, and I know it is overused, but many designers might even say that who uses Helvetica, but I still use Helvetica in a lot of my presentations. So yeah, I mean, lean, versatile, widely used. When you don't have enough ideas, just use Helvetica is what I would say. Yeah.
Can I make a point?
Sure.
Recently, I came across a post on Instagram saying that never overuse the fonts because too many people are using Helvetica. But at the same time, people talked about the familiarity bias and repetition in advertising, which means when people see those things in different ways in multiple forms, it gets familiar. And especially UX design talks about familiarity, which means someone has already used it, has become popular, and that's why we have used it. So any thoughts on that? Because I don't have an answer, but still I'm trying to find an answer for that.
Yeah, I think I know in UI and UX design, this has been spoken a lot about, but like, I guess I mean, the idea behind using Helvetica or using the same, like, even in UI UX design, I've seen like there are some number of fonts which are used extensively in most of the websites. And after all, what do we have? We have serif and we have sans serif.
Right.
And then we have the other demarcations under font types. But what are the most commonly used fonts? It's serif and sans serif. So I don't know. I don't have a real answer to this, but yes, when it comes to great craft, yes, it's important that you don't use familiar fonts. It's either better to use something that hasn't been used before, and it's going to be very hard to find what's not been used before. But I think the way you treat your design can make a lot of difference. So but yeah, Helvetica is going to give you a certain look and feel, but there are ways that you can design your stuff in a way that it looks different. Maybe it is with the other elements that you use in there, uh, or it's just about finding like, because there's so much of resources available to us. So it's a never ending game to look for a font.
And again, it is depends on the subject and topic. I mean, the media that we are using it.
Yeah, absolutely. But that question is a good question. I know that familiarity is a big no-no. And how do you stand different? That's that again, I mean that really requires us to
Can I share
push
one?
ourselves. Yes?
Can I share something? It just came in my
Absolutely.
mind on this topic. So I actually I'm also in advertising, and I've also done my commercial art, and it's been like 15 years I've been working in advertising. So when we were doing this newspaper ads, so there were like this matrimonial column that we generally get in newspapers, which are like single columns and which are very tiny. But then one day we were asked to like we have to increase the font size of it in such a tiny column. So the reason behind it was that when it comes to arranged marriage, the elderly people in the house, they look for these ads, and since they are like sometimes they are like senior citizens, or so they can't see properly if a font is very tiny. So that's why to make them read it very easily, so you have to make it in the bigger fonts, the bigger font size, and you have to choose a font size which is very simple and clear.
Yeah.
So it was again, it is all depends that what is the usage and what is the media and what is the purpose you're making a creative or an ad or something. So it all depends on that, and how what type of fonts or types that you should use. So it just came in my mind when we were discussing
Yeah,
this.
no, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, depending on where and what is your requirement, you might have to take certain calls, which might not be, which might not be ticking the familiarity issue, but
when you see those ads from the design, aesthetically, and it may not look good, but it was more on the usage part, so that the reading should be very easier for the people who are going to actually read that.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
I mean, in our conversation, I'm realizing there are two points. I don't know. This is what I feel, that a lot of the conversation is around the function and the aesthetic. I mean, like for example, the last example, the lady said, where the senior citizen, since the senior citizens will not be able to read, therefore a larger font would be needed. Even before that, another example which again talked about the functionality. So I think one thing that remains constant, even the points that I was making with regards to the plastic bag and the gun and everything, I think there's one side is the functional side. And then that is consistent, I see. And second is the like for example, the last example is against the aesthetics. Because in a newspaper, you also want to ensure that it has the whole lot of information is well balanced. Right? So the eye go in certain area and it follows and all that kind of thing. So yeah, point I wanted to make, I think a lot of it I just found like was in a trend. One, of course, the constant is your functionality. And then there are other pieces that comes along. Do you think I'm right to assess that, or is I don't know?
Yeah, I think these are some like there's no right or wrong, but I think it's you're right to assess that in a way. And I don't really have anything more to say to that because yes, it really depends on every use case scenario, you know.
Yeah.
Iconic poster design. Have you guys seen this one before? It's just powerful visual language, right? It's so simple and it's super powerful. It was done by a Japanese designer, I think, if I'm not wrong. He was a Japanese graphic designer, and it's probably considered as like it's probably one of his most popular poster. And it uses simple shapes, bold colors to convey a very powerful message about how senseless wars are, you know. And he's created a lot of posters in this message, like this message of uh, the futility of a war. Like, you know, where does it take you? Like, we all know what's happening in Gaza and Palestine right now, like, you know, and Israel. I don't know what's going to happen, and it just goes on. So yeah, it includes two graphs, like of a gun and a bullet, and it's like you throw a bullet and it comes back to you. I think, I don't know, it can be interpreted in different ways, but I thought that it's a very, very iconic poster and a very powerful visual language.
I think if the objective was to evoke an idea, it does the job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an art form, right? So
Yes.
because it could be anything, but as long as it makes you think, it's doing its job.
Yes. And now, and this one was by Milton Glaser, and I'd ask all of you to read about Milton Glaser or maybe look at his videos. There are lots of videos of him talking on YouTube, and I think he was an iconic designer as well as and he created this iconic design where he replaced love with a heart. I heart New York, and you know now it's everywhere. It's even in Malad. You know, so it's iconic, right? This is the oldest design, like, you know, which has become so popular. It's created it's created a language of its own.
Isn't this termed as a pop culture or something?
I don't know. I don't think this is pop. Pop culture is more like Andy Warhol or yeah, maybe. I don't know, but
Because it just goes, it cuts across the time. No? I'm
yeah,
sure it must be at least a
okay,
decade.
that way. Yes, that way. Yes, it does. It does. Like all of these are iconic designs and they cut across the time. Yeah. I think I've just put all the stuff that I've liked. I have no idea why I have put Star Wars here, but is there any Star Wars fan here in the group? I'm sure. No, none. Iconic poster design. Have you guys seen this one before? It's just powerful visual language, right? It's so simple and it's super powerful. It was done by a Japanese designer, I think, if I'm not wrong. He was a Japanese graphic designer, and it's probably considered as like it's probably one of his most popular poster. And it uses simple shapes, bold colors to convey a very powerful message about how senseless wars are. I really like Star Wars.
But
And
I
then,
the design.
sorry?
I like the poster design. Is
Yes, yes.
I just fancy
I
this.
think
Yeah.
I think also the typography of Star Wars, like you see, like even now, any movie that you see of Star Wars, in the end, all the text is going up in like in the black, like in the infinity.
Props. Yeah, yeah.
So it's really nice design again, I think. It
These
works
were
for the film.
these were done with watercolors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this looks like a poster design with water poster colors or whatever. Yeah. Then yes, the iPhone. What do you guys think about
Obviously
it?
good. There are some Apple fans.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It changed, I feel it changed the cell phone industry. Like,
I think with the Apple design, one of the things which I like is the whole concept of negative space. Try to focus on the product and speak less and say more. Say,
mm-hmm. Yes. And what else do I have? I have a couple of more. I have FedEx. Everyone learns
Negative
about
space,
FedEx.
arrows.
Everyone learns
Famous.
about it. Yeah. It's old now. Nobody, I mean, there are much better designs, but again, this is very timeless. They haven't changed yet. They haven't gone into an agency and said, we want to change our logo or we want to make it more modern. I think this was designed way back in time and it still is the same. McDonald's.
Mother of iconic design.
Yeah. It's iconic. It's iconic logo. Simple. There's clarity in FedEx. And McDonald's is iconic, though I think McDonald's is, the product itself is not a great product. I mean, but we love it. We love burgers. And this is Lego. Again, I think again, like if you guys should check out the story of Lego, founder of Lego. How did he come to designing these products? And there's an amazing museum in New York, which is called, I think, the Lego Museum or something. And it's beautiful. Like you can spend 2 hours inside that museum, 2 to 3 hours easily. And yeah, I don't know why I have this urinals, but is it a good design or a bad design? It's for you men to think about. But
very bad design.
I've heard watercolor moments, but that's more of urinal moments.
So I just have like a little summary of all these good and bad designs, which is aesthetic, innovative, solving a problem, improving lives, simplifying communication, which is probably like FedEx or I don't know. There might be some examples you guys also know. It educates, it can entertain, it brings positivity. Some are long lasting. I think the safety pin idea that is there. And some are thought through to the last detail. Environmentally friendly, changing attitudes and mindsets, which is probably the bullet poster maybe. Then instigating action and iconic. So, and there could be more. You guys can add more to this, but this is something that came to my mind and I just listed down. Yep. And the design cut throughs, actually, it definitely stands out. Yeah, that's the end of the slides that I have. I honestly wanted to give some names here, so I'll just type in as I talk. I'd love you guys to check out these people and read about them, because more than me, these are the people who can help you bring about that perception. I'm just writing their names here. And these are these are some famous names I'm putting down. I'd love you guys to check YouTube videos. I keep forgetting how to Wombly. Rick Rubin. Hiroshi Sugimoto. He's a Japanese photographer. Armin Hoffman is a graphic designer. And maybe read a little bit of Rumi. Yeah. So some of the names I really live by. Um, if you can get their books or you can get hold of their videos or something, that would be great. So yeah, I mean, that's it actually. I don't have more slides to show. If someone wants to talk to me ever, we can talk outside of this call as well. But yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Any more questions or thoughts? Let me know.
Geet,
All right.
just
Thank you, Geet. I believe Sandeep Kulkarni had a question earlier, which says that, can you tell me, since AI was already there before, all of a sudden AI term got more into the market, and do we really was not ready for it, or we are avoiding it, or were we avoiding it? Sandeep, would you like to kind of rephrase your question again or want to ask again? Please feel free.
I keep forgetting how to Google. Rick Rubin. He wrote.
You want me to take that question again? Maybe others, you can reply and others can.
Sure. What? Yeah, just
So
say
the question was that he said that since AI was already there before, so all of a sudden AI term got more into the market, and were we ready for it or were we avoiding it?
I think I don't know about everyone, but I wasn't avoiding it. I honestly didn't know about it. I knew that there was, I knew there's artificial intelligence because when I was working with TBW, I created brand identity for one of our clients, Fractal, and they are into artificial intelligence. But I didn't know that that there's something coming to take away a lot of jobs or ease my work. I always thought that AI was helping big organizations figure out their thing. I didn't know that I will ever get hold of it. But when ChatGPT started, when Midjourney, DALL-E started to happen, I think I started to enjoy them, because come on, like you have a presentation tomorrow and you need to whip up something today. It really helps you do that. So it's almost like you have control over a lot of things now, and it's there to help. I mean, that thing we talk about work-life balance. I think you can get somewhere close to work-life balance, but maybe not UI UX designers. I'm sorry about that, because or maybe they can also. I don't know. There are lots of AI softwares I know that can create a lot of stuff, but UI UX designers will know that it's not the same when you design yourself. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't sure that it's going to take us, with such a punch in the face. But I think the only thing I can say is that we need to be friends with it and keep up in the game and, learn how to use it to our best, to our benefit.
Geet, it would be a little helpful if you could also like list a couple of AI sites that would help us in our journey in design and that could act as interns for us.
Okay, so Avinash, what kind of design are you into? Like, are you in UI UX or?
No, so let's say like I have to create a design for a vaccine manufacturer or a biologics company or something like that. So just to get an initial look of how AI would do a design, like, and then I could base my ideas off it, or, I could input a prompt and ask AI to do that, something like that, which could help me actually.
Yeah, so see, to be very honest, there are lots of AI softwares now. I haven't used all of them, but the one that I very, very regularly use is Midjourney and to some extent ChatGPT also. So Midjourney really gives you a lot of ideas on design. However, it's all about putting the right prompts there. So how to put the right prompts is an exercise, and there's enough and more help online. I don't have the links, but some of the links I do have, like I've saved them in my Instagram, or when I come across, like if somebody else shares with me. So I could probably share that in an email to Pooja, and Pooja can, send it to you guys, whatever I have. But honestly, it's like you have to spend an hour training yourself into all of this. It's a huge world there.
Right, right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone would like to share anything or ask any questions?
I have a general question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, this is more from a freelancing perspective. I do part-time freelancing as well. Sometimes when we are trying to convince our clients with our strong rationale of design principles, all of the rules which we follow, they don't understand. So it becomes quite difficult to convince them, to help them understand, like, we are just following the rules. This is the rationale behind the designs. Whereas they don't have anything in their mind. They just simply want the output to be as per their wish. And when we are doing and delivering those stuffs, right, even though when we are meeting their expectations 100%, they are happy with it. But when I showcase the work which I've delivered to another client who's probably coming in the future, they might look us down because we haven't followed it. But how do we bridge this gap? Because this has become a battle nowadays, like especially when we work with clients who are not from a proper design background, who don't understand the design world.
Yeah, it's a problem all across the world.
Yeah, everyone knows about it, but I just want to know perspectives from industry leaders.
Some people I have seen have managed it by not taking certain kind of clients, but I know it comes with a cost. We are here to also make our business work, or we are freelancers, so we need but I think again, like, you can only do something till a certain level. If your clients don't understand, maybe it's the time for you to look for the clients who are a little more educated in design.
Right.
I don't know if that is a ideal way of doing it, but I have seen some companies, like I think there is a company, there's a very famous design house in Bombay, who only works for startups.
I have a general question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, this is more from a freelancing perspective. I do part-time freelancing as well. Sometimes when we are trying to convince our clients with our strong rationale of design principles, all of the rules which we follow, they don't understand. So it becomes quite difficult to convince them, to help them understand, like, we are just following the rules. This is the rationale behind the designs.
Sorry, I can't recollect, but that design company only works for startups. And usually then startups have, I don't know, I mean, not everyone, but they are able to handle a plethora of clients who are very well educated and are open to trusting the designer completely. So it really depends. Like maybe you take up a client and you're not having a good time with them, and it's going to affect your work. So you let it go, and the next time you have to be a little more conscious about who you are working with.
Yeah. But
I guess.
sometimes my client circles are probably from real estate, who doesn't have a good background in education. I'm sorry to use this, but that's how it works. It becomes very difficult to convince them, help them understand the basic stuff. They simply refer any Google person, hey, can you make something like this? But if I make something like this, I'm treated as a copycat. Nobody's going to respect me, even though I get paid. But what is the justice which I would do to my job as a designer? So yeah.
That's why, Vishnu, it is maybe very important for us to find a balance, maybe take a break and look and create like a path for yourself about what are the kind of clients I will work with, and then go behind them. I know it's tough, but if it bothers you, then it's going to create a conflict between you and your work, and then it will be reflected in your work. So it's important for us to be sure about what we are working on, and we are completely satisfied working with that.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? Sorry, I can't recollect, but that design company only works for startups. And usually then startups have, you know, more, I don't know, I mean, not everyone, but they are able to handle a plethora of clients who are very well educated and are.
Yeah, while we think their questions, I would just take a minute and say that, Miami Ad School is, I'm sure all of you know, for those who don't know, Miami Ad School is the creative school where, it will help you enhance and unleash your creative potential. And we are also coming up with a few boot camps in near future, starting from January, especially in Bengaluru. So, and also in Mumbai near soon, which will be announced. Yeah, we will soon announce all these boot camps. So those who are interested, do get in touch with us. Yeah.
Great. This was a great learning session for me as well. Thanks to everybody.
Yeah, I would like to thank Geet for taking out her precious time amidst her, chaotic and hectic schedule for us to share this masterclass. And I want to thank each one of you for joining, which really shows that your keen desire to learn and upskill yourself, right? Geet, your presentation was really nice, and the kind of work you do is truly commendable. Thank you so much for sharing all of
Amazing
this.
session. Best
Thank you so
speaker
much.
without even venturing out.
No, I hope I was able to, because I wasn't completely prepared, but I thought I just wanted to make sure that I convey the point that, it's all about us. It's not about AI. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Geet.
much.
Thank you, everyone, for taking out time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.